Hello YouTube, welcome to another video. These are pretty much my pickups of the last week or so. As you saw from the pictures at the start, I went up to Doncaster, the Doncaster Toy Fair, part of Barry Potter Fairs. It was actually one of those shows where it was quite far for us to get to. It took about 3 hours to get there and 3 hours back. It was quite a long day, but it was actually quite fun. So what I'm going to show you now is a mix of things I found and picked up and some stuff I got in the post. Doncaster was very, very far. Like I said, 3 hours. When we got there, it was a lot of trains and die-cast, usual stuff. But annoyingly, it was a lot of what I call like modern die-casts, where everything's laid out nice and neatly, looking very nice. All the prices are the same sort of thing. It's just a bit boring, a bit generic, to be honest. But there were some few good stalls. There was a lot of Star Wars stalls, which I'm actually quite surprised by. Anyway, before we start looking at some of those stuff, I'm going to show you some things I got recently in the post. Now, this is the first thing I picked up. I paid it, I think it was like £12 for this. This is a Space 1999 board game by Omnia Games. I've never heard of this company before. I never knew they did a Space 99 board game. I'm surprised I didn't know that already, but it's quite a nice thing. I'm probably going to sell it. It's not going to be one of my keeps. My life is changing at the moment in terms of what I can keep and what I can't keep, so I'm going to hopefully get rid of a few things. So this will probably be for sale. I'm going to try and get about £25 for it. I'll be selling it at a toy fair, so anybody can come along. It's got some damage at the top, but overall it's quite good. Next up in the post, I got this awesome Aurora model kit. I paid £7, I think, plus postage for this. It's a De Havilland DH4 Water 1 plane. It's a 1/4 scale, which I think is around about 1/32 scale, maybe a bit smaller. It's really cool. Aurora model kits are the golden age of model kits. They are the best for their time, really. Nowadays you've got your Airfix, which are really popular in the 70s, and your like Tamiya and Reville and that sort of stuff. But these are very desirable. They made the model kits for the Universal Horror monsters, so like Frankenstein, Hunchback, the Invisible Man, I think. They did like glow-in-the-dark ones, they did Frankenstein, the Werewolf Man. So they're the ones that are really desirable. These are not so much desirable, but still worth a bit of money. I'm going to be asking about £25 for that one. I would love to keep it because I love the artwork, but I can't keep everything. And then I got this. I paid £18 for this. I paid up for it because I kind of liked it. It's a 1/32 scale model kit of the Batmobile from 1966. It's got IMAI on it, which is the company. Made in Japan. I don't know what year this came out. There's no barcode, which makes me think it's probably at least 25-30 years old. I mean, barcodes came in 1976 and or 1977, that sort of time. So I don't know when they came in Japan. There's no date on it at all. I can't see. It says Tokyo there on it, but this looks beautiful. It's a lovely little model kit. Look at that on the side, Joe Nightingale. I'm not really sure that one is. It a monkey's car or something? But anyway, the kit inside, it's all bagged up and sealed, and it comes with this little sleeve at the front of it to basically protect the kit from falling out. Once you pulled it off, you basically ruined it really, but you can actually get behind it and pull stuff out. There's a bit of the model kit there. So in terms of price, I'm going to be asking about £45. You can get these much cheaper if you wait and wait and wait, but they're quite hard to find complete. Most people are asking about £45, but I'm happy to take less for it, but I need about £35 for it really. If not, it's going to stay in my collection because it's beautiful. Got amazing artwork. Cool. And now on to another little pickup. I saw this, it was cheap, it's online. It is a American NFL trading card made by Topps in 1985 for a chap called Mark Haynes. Now, Haynes is my family name, so that's why I had to buy it. Basically, it was cheap. I think it was £10, but he offered me £8 free postage, so I just took it. These cards get graded, which is encased in this plastic case, which you cannot get out. I think it costs about £25 if you go through the order processing from the UK. So to buy this card for a couple of pounds and then get it graded, it's quite hard. It's quite expensive. The card's not worth much on its own, but this is a mint 9. I just loved it really. It's hard to find these sort of cards with the black borders where they're not scuffed and chipped, so getting it in a 9 grade is quite nice. Bit of a weird shot. I mean, the gentleman on the front, it looks a bit like a mug shot because of the white background. Kind of a bit strange when they went with that sort of look. But I've seen some more in the series and they do all look like this, and it's very odd. You thought they would have a stadium or them on the pitch or them with like a ball in their hand, but nothing. There's also no logos on this card, which makes you think that maybe Topps didn't own the rights to produce the logos, only the names. But on the back, as always, comes with the all the stats. So that, for me, that was cool. I mean, I collect these things as a little bit of an investment. I'm not expecting to make mega money on them, but I'm hoping that in the future these cards will go up in price. Modern cards have started to go up crazily, so if anybody's interested in having something which is quite easy to store and relatively cheap, which will make a little bit of money, start getting these. Now on to my pickups from Doncaster Toy Fair. So I walked around Doncaster Toy Fair for quite a bit of time. I saw a lot of stuff that was more my dad's sort of stuff to buy. There was a really cool James Bond camera set, which the guy wanted 300. My dad wanted to pay 200 for it. So he thought about it, walked away. When he came back, half hour later, it was gone, which is annoying, really. But I did find a few things. I picked up a Lone Ranger stable set, which is downstairs. I'm not going to bring it upstairs because it's quite big, but it's a Lone Ranger wooden stable set from the 1970. I paid £15 for it, and I then paid, I think it's £15 for the stable, and then I paid £10 for this. This is £12.50. But this is a Doctor Who Dapol figure. It's the third Doctor, John Pertwee. Bear with me 1 second, my cat's meowing. Yeah, so this figure is John Pertwee. He is not the best mould at all. I mean, but what's quite impressive is with these Doctor Who figures that they came out in the late 80s, and they brought out a few of them. As you can tell, there's a few on the back, and they're mainly available in things like the Doctor Who exhibition up in Blackpool and in Longleat. I remember going to Longleat as a kid and buying these. I had this very one. I was a big John Pertwee fan as a kid back in the 90s because I had the film, the TV show on VHS. Annoyingly, that sticker is really stuck on there, so I can't really get him off. I was going to try and peel it off, but it's so tight, and I have to get some kind of like glue and remover out for it. It's just come out in 1996, this figure. Sadly, that was the year that John Pertwee would actually pass away. So yeah, these figures they're not mega money, but the Doctors are a bit worth a bit. Usually you can get about £15 to £20 depending on the Doctor. Tom Baker's the one that whatever he wants. But I just brought back memories of this figure. So I basically threw it in the deal. I think I got the Lone Ranger stable, a Lone Ranger horse, and this for £32. So the Lone Ranger stable I should get about £40 for. This I'll try and get about 15, but not bothered if it sells. And then the horse I'll get about 15 as well. As I walked past one of the stalls as they were setting up, well, here's a tip: always go early when you come to these toy shows. You pay a bit more, but you're bound to find more stuff very cheaply. You'll find that if there's like 500 stalls, chances are you're never going to find somebody who you're not going to get somebody who's on every stall watching everything go out. So when this woman put this stuff out, I was amazed. She basically put out 2, Vectis catalogues and wanted £1 each for them. Now, one's James Bond and one's Star Wars. Me and my dad basically, this is the sort of stuff that we collect. My dad mainly James Bond, me mainly Star Wars. So with auction catalogues, they're usually quite poor because what they are just lists of toys, and they tell you what the estimated price is, but the estimated prices differ from time to time. But Vectis, the reason why they're one of the premier auction sites is because they do these beautiful catalogues, and these are £1 each. And I just want to show you what they're like. Going through it just lists every single detail what's for sale. That's obviously the pretty boring side of things, but when you get to the inside bit, there's photographs. Obviously there's loads and loads of boring cars, some lovely Matchbox stuff though, and lovely Corgi stuff. Where's all the Star Wars stuff? It's just endless pictures. It's really, really good. Here you go. Look at that Star Wars stuff. I mean, it's random and it's old. This is 2011, this book. So you've got to think about what the prices are and stuff. Here's some Transformers, some Doctor Who. You've got to take into consideration how things have changed, really. There's loads of Dukes of Hazzard there, Batman, Star Trek. But I paid £1 each for these, and these are a great resource. If you're into vintage toy collecting and you're really into like maybe dealing as well, I would highly recommend picking these up because they show you things that you never ever thought would you ever see. Let me try to find something like I never knew existed. Here you go. Thundercat Snarf soft plush toy. I never knew that existed. Most of this stuff I do know exists. That Batman car there I never knew existed, that tin plated one. Loads and loads of Lone Ranger stuff. Lone Ranger stuff I never knew. There was just so many of it really. But for £1 each, you can't go wrong. They're a valuable resource, these books, and they are quite worth a bit of money. People try and sell them for online for about £15. I'm not going to sell them. These are my personal collection. I go through them. I look at prices of things. I try and see how some rare toys are moved around for auctions. And so to me, this is a very, very valuable resource. And anybody who collects vintage toys and wants to get into the game properly, especially kind of like the more high-end toys, the ones that are the big sellers, you need to get these books. You need to get the Vectis auction catalogues. There's a few other companies like Prop Store that do really beautiful catalogues now. As luck would have it, I have one by me now. So this is a Prop Store catalogue, and their catalogues are just absolutely beautiful. Look at the Amiga toys there for sale. Star Wars figures, prototypes, you name it, Prop Store have it. So Prop Store catalogues, this cost me £35. So that tells you how much they usually go for. Vectis auction catalogues are much cheaper and they're easier to come by. They're usually like £15 when they come out, and then they're usually about a couple pounds a few months afterwards. But yeah, always look out for Vectis auction catalogues if you see them. They do loads of different toys. They do specialist auctions for like things like die-cast toys, and they do loads and loads of other bits and bobs. So I then went to another store and picked up some card backs for Star Wars. So I can't really afford to pay the prices for a carded run of Star Wars figures. I also don't have the room. I mean, they're really lovely things, but the prices, you're talking about a minimum of £100 now per carded figure from Empire Strikes Back and the first Star Wars for a minimum. I mean, you can go if you wanted to try and get, for example, the original 12-back original release figures from 1977-78, you're talking 10 grand in good condition, mint condition. It's a shame really, because that's the way it goes, and I think the problem is with Star Wars is now people can't afford to collect, and a lot of people say no, you can still collect stuff, which you can, but when you try and complete a loose collection, for example, of all the figures, you can get most of the figures relatively cheap and on a good budget. But then you get like the pop-up R2D2, that's £250. Yak Face, £250. people just can't afford it really, and I understand, and I'm the same. I do have a few carded figures, and I'll collect them when I find them, but trying to find any Star Wars figures on card for under £100 in good condition is relatively impossible. So card backs are the next best option. This gives me the chance to basically have every single card back, because relatively speaking, card backs are cheap. Up until recently they started to go for the roof, and so I've been trying my best to try and find as many as I can for as cheap as I can, and not really worry about what the card is. Just try and get a nice collection. So this one is Lobot. It's a tri-logo card, so it's got 1, 2, 3 logos on it. The reason why was because back in the mid to late 80s, they wanted to try and cheapen their manufacturing by releasing a card for pretty much for Europe. So this one's called Lobot, and he was £5, I think. And then we got Bib Fortuna. I just like this card. It's relatively good condition, not the worst card in the world. It's not a hard figure to pick up. I think you could probably pick him up for about £150 carded. But for £5, the best thing about this is they're so easy to store. I mean, that's just a piece of card. You can get actual top loader plastic protectors as well for these. So I got it stored away, and they look great. You can pull them out whenever you want, display them with the figure if you want to. But they're cheap. They're cheap, much cheaper option, should I say. And then the last two, I paid, I think it was about £20 for these two, £10 each. One of them I just had to have. It was, even though it was in back edition, it's Luke Skywalker on the Star Wars card. I'm going to try and do some basic restoration on it there, just to get it making it look a bit nicer. But it's in pretty ropey condition. The proof of purchase has been cut out. Obviously, this is messed up, which it usually always is. This has been messed up as well, which is weird. That's been messed up, which is weird. It's missing the sticker. And also people cross out the figures that this person's got, which is quite cool. But I don't have a Luke card back of Farm Boy Luke, and especially because it's a Star Wars card. I would love it to be a 12 back, but they're worth a bit of money, even like just the card itself. Boba Fett offer, which is pretty cool, pretty historic in terms of the vintage line. Like a different Boba Fett looks there. The rocket firing backpack, which never worked because of many reasons. Boba Fett not available in any store. Well, he will be in the future. Offer expires the 31st of May 1979. Tells you how early this card back is. So that's cool to have that in my collection. Really happy to get that. And then the best card I found, which I thought is just lovely, was this R5D4, which is just lovely. Overall, the card is really nice. There's hardly any scratches on it, hardly any dentations on it. If that figure was still in the card now in the bubble, it would be rated really high. It'd be very much like a big collector piece because it's so lovely. There you go, all the figures on the back. Collect all 77. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, to be honest. Well, I am a big Star Wars fan. I'm not the biggest Star Wars collector, so I kind of find things when they're cheap and they interest me. I'm not trying to go for big $1,000 pieces that some people are. I just cannot afford it, and it doesn't really interest me yet, to be honest. I do love looking at people's collections when they have prototypes and rare pieces. I really love it, but even though I do love Star Wars, I'd rather pick up the pieces like this for cheap. But anyway, so that was pretty much all of my pickups from Doncaster and this week in the post. I'd also picked up a Avengers bowling hat, which I'll get now. So I misplaced this and then just remembered exactly where it was. So it's a bowler hat, not a bowling hat. This is from Avengers, not the Marvel characters we know and love, but the Avengers. This is Avengers is a 1960s British television program that was kind of exported to America and around the world. Very cool, kind of James Bond / sci-fi-esque. In 1996, 97, they made a a remake with Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes, was it, and Sean Connery, all people. And so these were at the premiere on the tables. It's a hard plastic bowler hat, and they were champagne holders basically. So it's quite cool. This is something you don't really ever see. I paid £3 for it, which I'm happy with. It's a bit of a weird thing because it's obviously a bowler hat. It's a bit of a novelty, but perfect for any Avengers collector out there. I got it listed quite high. I think I got it listed £50. One sold for £40 a couple of weeks ago, so I thought list it for £4.50 so I can get. But I'm open to offers on it because I only paid £3 on it. If anybody can give me a reasonable amount of money plus postage, they can have it. But it's really cool. It's really hard, and it would be awesome for any kind of like champagne collector or anybody likes a bit of a quirky piece. Anyway, thank you much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please like, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you again with some more content. Sayonara.